It isn't the strongest or wisest of species that survived. It's those who adapted well. This statement of Charles Darwin holds good for organizations in no small measure than it does for any of the species. Jack Welch says, change before you have to. The importance of managing change is what Will Rogers echoes when he says, even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. How could BIS, the national standards body of the country, mandated to setting standards for the products, processes and services and laying down norms for compliance, therewith could not have embraced the change management as one of the fundamental principles of its functioning. Since 1955, when it assumed the responsibility of conformity assessment, it has been alive to the need of adapting its schemes to the changing demands and expectations of the economy. This edition of BISTalks is devoted to discussing the important changes that have happened in response to the nation's call of ensuring speed, skill and scale in whatever we do. We'll see in the various sections how, with an ingenious blend of process re-engineering, information technology and manpower planning, conformity assessment schemes have become efficient, transparent and friendlier to the stakeholders. So let's start the exploration.
You may be aware that the simplified procedure for grant of license provides for grant of license on the basis of the test report from a BIS recognized laboratory submitted by the applicant, and the time frame for grant of license is 1 month. Earlier, it was optional for manufacturers to apply under normal procedure or simplified procedure. In its commitment to infuse speed in grant of license, BIS has identified 732 products which have been mandatorily brought under simplified procedure. This will ensure that the manufacturers making these products will be able to obtain license within a month. The list of products under simplified procedure may be seen on BIS website www.bis.gov.in. I must add here that this list is a dynamic one and new products will be brought in it as and when the need is felt and adequate testing facility for the product can be created.
As you can see, BIS is moving towards a trust-based system by relying on the test reports submitted by the applicants for grant of license in respect of a larger number of products. Isn't it necessary, however, to ensure maximum transparency and accountability in the process to eliminate the chances of mischief? BIS has done it by making suitable changes in the Manak Online and Laboratory Information Management System, LIMS.
One of the challenges faced by the manufacturers wanting to apply for license was identifying the proper laboratory with complete facilities to test the product as per the relevant Indian standards. Besides, they also had to send product samples to the labs manually. The process has now been automated. The applicant registers himself on the conformity assessment portal of eBIS, that is www.manakonline.in, and gets a login ID. He logs in and selects the test sample option after checking the list of products under the simplified procedure at the BIS website, that is www.bis.gov.in. He fills out the form for generating the test request and submits the application. LIMS suggests the labs to which the product sample can be sent. The moment he selects the lab, the test request is sent to the lab. He now affixes the QR code on the sample and dispatches it to the lab. The sample is then tested in the lab strictly in accordance with the particular standard, and entire process is recorded on LIMS. After all the tests are completed, the test report is sent to the applicant, which he can see on his page. A copy of it is also sent to BIS. Within 6 months of the generation of the test report, he can apply for grant of license by filing of the application with the mention of the test report code and deposit of necessary fees.
Really impressive. And as I could notice, it has now become impossible for anyone to generate a test report without adhering to the prescribed protocol. And as DDG certification told me, it also enables BIS to arrange training and hand-holding for the potential applicants. Manufacturers could have complained that with it becoming mandatory to apply for certain products under simplified procedure, the applicants would have to bear the testing charges twice. Let me request the DDG certification to share the happy news that it's not so.
The government has amended the conformity assessment regulations to do away with the requirement of the payment of testing charges for the verification samples by the applicant. They will now be a part of the minimum marking fee. And as you know, the minimum marking fee regime has also been rationalized to reduce it significantly for the micro units, women entrepreneurs and startups.
The details of the rationalized minimum marking fee structure may be seen at www.bis.gov.in, and I am hopeful it encourages the entrepreneurs to join the BIS efforts to create a robust quality ecosystem in the country. Granting license within 1 month. Easier said than done. It has taken some serious process re-engineering to make it feasible. Let's hear the details from the officer who has been a part of it.
The processes involved in the grant of license were examined closely with the active participation of branch officers, and various measures were introduced to reduce the timelines for grant of license. These measures are payment of half of the minimum marking fee along with the submission of application, written commitment by the applicant that he would be ready for factory visit by BIS within the time frame indicated for this purpose, allotment of the application to the dealing officer within 24 hours, scrutiny of the application within 5 days of the receipt and sharing all the inadequacies or discrepancies at one go, explaining the queries raised to the applicant through telephonic conversation or VC to obviate the need for lengthy correspondence, factory visit within 17 days of the receipt of the application and within 25 days in special circumstances, processing of the inspection report by the dealing officer within 5 days, decision of grant of license by the head BO within 2 days.
Laying down timelines is only one part of the enterprise. Manak Online made it possible to monitor on real-time basis if the timelines were being adhered to in respect of each and every application. It is fascinating to see how DG or DDG can see the status of an application in any of the BOs using the features of history and activity log, and how efficiency index has ensured effective oversight. We'll talk about them in detail later. You must be wondering, what is the need then for normal procedure at all? We need it. Why? Let's hear from the expert.
The normal procedure for grant of license is required for products which are bulky in nature or not easy to be transported to the laboratory. Also, for products where third-party laboratory is not available or statutory approval from regulatory authorities is required, for instance, cylinders, valves, regulators and cement. This procedure for grant of license is followed.
BIS has taken several steps to streamline the normal procedure. The timelines for the allocation of the application to the dealing officer, scrutiny, factory visit, dispatch of samples, processing of inspection report, and decision on the test report prescribed in the respect of simplified procedure are applicable to the normal procedure too. Follow-up visit, if required, shall take place within 15 days. The overall time frame for the disposal of an application has been reduced to 3 months from 4 months. Real-time tracking of the dispatch and testing of samples through linkage between Manak Online and LIMS. Continuing with its endeavor to switch over to a trust-based system, BIS decided to do away with human intervention for the renewal of licenses. The licensee has to fill up the form and deposit the renewal fees online, and license is renewed instantly.
Renewal of license has been automated and is just a matter of few clicks with following steps. Go to the Conformity Assessment portal and log in to open the home page. Click the Renew License option to fill up the form. Ensure that the correct and complete details of the production and consignees have been given. System generates the renewal fee to be paid on the basis of production details and mandatory fees. Deposit the fee using the options available on the portal, see the undertakings and submit. The license is renewed and intimation sent to the home page of licensee along with SMS alert.
Everybody will appreciate that this is a wonderful initiative to ease the compliance burden of the licensees. And I must mention here that the Manak online portal now has the feature to send SMS and mail alerts to the licensees about the due date for renewal. First, 3 months before the due date, and second, 1 month ahead of that. This is to ensure that licenses do not attract deferment or expiry for lack of information. But licenses do get expired for a variety of reasons. BIS has tried to make it easier for such licensees to come back within the fold of conformity assessment. Let's hear about it from the domain area expert.
If a manufacturer who was holding a BIS license which was surrendered voluntarily or expired due to non-submission of renewal application or fee reapplies for BIS license for the same product and scope within 1 year from the date of expiry of his license, provided that the product applied for is same in all respects and the test requirements under the standard have not changed, then the license can be granted on the basis of factory testing itself. All the tests possible to be done in a day will be carried out in the factory and sample will be drawn for independent testing. However, grant of license is not withheld for the receipt of the test report.
BIS looks at itself as one of the partners in the process of formulation of standards and implementation thereof, and licensees are the other important partner. Their empowerment and active participation have always been a major area of action for BIS. Let's take some time to familiarize ourselves with the steps taken by BIS in this regard.
A critical aspect of empowering the licensees is providing them easy access to the relevant information and a platform for the exchange of information. This has been ensured through the following: creation of a dashboard for every portal on the eBIS, provision of a dedicated home page for every licensee on Conformity Assessment portal of eBIS. Licensees can access this page through the following steps. Go to eBIS portal www.manakonline.in. Click on the Conformity Assessment Manak Online tile. Click on the Login button on the top right hand. In case you don't have an account, click on Create Account and follow the simple steps given to create an account. Page is visible after logging into the Manak Online account. The home page of the licensee has provisions for status of application for license or inclusion, complete details on the license, scope, validity period, renewal of the license, reporting the change in address or location, deferment or suspension, recording and updating the details of test equipment, recording and updation of quality control personnel, reporting the consignee details, reporting the production details, and alerts sent by BIS.
What an entrepreneur needs most is the access to right, correct, and complete information. BIS has made it possible by creating the feature Know Your Standard on its website www.bis.gov.in. By typing the product name and IS number, one can see every information of standard.
While dashboard and dedicated page for each of the licensees are important, BIS has institutionalized a system of periodic dialogue with the licensees at the branch offices and laboratories to develop a shared understanding of the areas for improvement. In addition, BIS laboratories have been tasked with organizing exposure visits to the labs for the small and micro entrepreneurs. I would request DDG PRT to throw light on some of the important initiatives of BIS.
A number of initiatives have been taken by BIS which are aimed towards empowering the stakeholders with information about the standards and their significance for strengthening the quality ecosystem in the country. BIS has made a series of BISTalk films on standardization in different fields. These films are educational in nature and provide an insight into the various subjects which have been covered under standardization by BIS. Availability of competent personnel with industry is essential for assessing the quality of products at various stages of production. BIS has started conducting certificate courses for quality control personnel to bridge the gap in the skills of quality control and testing personnel as newer and newer products are coming under certification. The training activities of BIS have also been strengthened and a dedicated training portal has been created as part of eBIS, which serves as useful platform for industry to leverage the training programs of BIS and also to approach BIS for customized training programs both online and offline. In order to expand the user base of licensed products and maximizing their benefits to the public, a number of standard promotion activities have been taken up, such as formation of standardization cells in ministries and industry associations, issuance of instructions for use of ISI marked products by government organizations including PSUs under the Public Procurement Guidelines of DPIIT, scheme for financial assistance for the formation of standards club in schools to create quality consciousness among children in their formative years. Although the products reaching the consumers through the robust conformity assessment schemes are expected to match the quality needs of the consumers, there could be a minuscule number of complaints emanating from dissatisfaction on use of such products. BIS has simplified its procedure for handling such complaints. The entire complaint management system has also been made online through a dedicated portal, again as part of eBIS.
Factory and market surveillance are integral to the concept of conformity assessment, as they not only provide information on the status of compliance with the terms and conditions of the license, but also act as an institutional mechanism for the capacity building of the licensee. But surveillance has been a challenge for BIS.
Surveillance has been a challenge mainly because of the growing mismatch between the number of licensees and the scientific manpower available. It has also been a challenge because there is always a risk of regulation turning into a license control raj.
This challenge needed an effective response, and here I am reminded of a beautiful statement by Albert Einstein. The significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. Something new needed to be thought of, and BIS came up with refreshingly new thought on how to fix the problem.
First major decision was to engage external agencies which had been accredited by NABCB for factory surveillance. Engagement of 5 external agencies through a competitive bidding process solved the problem of inadequate manpower. Second major decision was to plan factory surveillance centrally using Manak Online, and a new feature was added to Manak Online for this. Third and most important change was introduction of mobile app-based system of surveillance reporting to eliminate the chances of mischief. And lastly, the creation of a dashboard for real-time monitoring of the status of surveillances against the approved plan.
Aren't you curious like me to know how the mobile app-based surveillance works?
The process starts with BIS providing quarterly surveillance plan to the agencies. The agency allots the licensees to be visited to its agents as per the monthly plan of surveillance approved by BIS. The moment surveillance is allotted to an agent, it shows on the mobile app. The app works only if the agent is at the factory, as every location is geo-tagged. When the report is opened, he can see the details of the previous 2 inspections. If certain details are missing regarding the licensee, he can get them updated then and there. After filling all the observations, he can preview all the sections of report before inspection report is submitted. The inspection report has to be submitted at the factory only, and the moment it is submitted, it can be accessed on Manak online portal. For samples drawn during the inspection, there is a provision to generate QR code to be affixed on the product sample. On receiving the test request, LIMS provides the lab suggestions based on real-time data. Once the product sample is sealed and ready for dispatch, the test request is sent to the selected lab and it can be seen on the LIMS portal. Licensee can also see the test request on his home page and is required to dispatch the sample to the lab within 2 days of inspection. The dealing officers in the branch offices examine the inspection reports within 5 days of receipt and seek clarifications from agents if any. Factory inspection is complete once the inspection report is accepted by the branch office. The agency can submit the claim for payment online and the payment is also made online.
Fascinating. Now let's shift our attention to market surveillance. Given the varied nature of products, BIS follows a multi-pronged approach in this regard. Collecting samples from market, collecting samples from ports, collecting samples from factories or consignees, and collecting feedback from organized buyers.
Similar to factory surveillance, BIS engaged 2 external agencies for market surveillance also. These 2 agencies have been selected through competitive bidding process to supplement efforts of BIS officials to collect samples from market and ports. The concept of centralized planning and surveillance through the mobile app was also applied to market surveillance.
We would like to apprise some of important features of mobile app based market surveillance, like generation of a monthly plan of action for every branch office. Mobile app shows the work allotted to agent or officials of BIS. Details of sample are entered in the mobile app. Photograph of person deputed for surveillance, sample, invoice, vouchers, etc. can be uploaded on the app. The moment the report is submitted, it can be accessed on the Manak online portal by the concerned branch office.
Can there be any doubt now that BIS will be able to achieve the target of surveillance of all the factories and products under its licensing regime? Dear friends, you are already aware of how BIS grants a license to manufacturers to use the ISI mark on products which conform to a particular Indian standard. Licenses to use ISI mark on products are granted under the provisions of Scheme 1, which is one of the 8 types of conformity assessment schemes prescribed in the BIS Conformity Assessment Regulations 2018. This license to use ISI mark on a product is granted only after establishing that the product is conforming to all the requirements prescribed in the Indian standard. Besides Scheme 1, Certificate of Conformity can be granted for products which are conforming to specified requirements given in standard or part of standard or essential requirements under other schemes defined in the BIS Conformity Assessment Regulations 2018. Presently, Certificate of Conformity is being granted by BIS for 2 products under Scheme 4 in pursuance of quality control orders issued by the central government. Scheme 4 is quite similar to the Scheme 1. Based on the requirements for which Certificate of Conformity or COC is required, the manufacturer can apply for grant of Certificate of Conformity in the format prescribed, providing required details in the prescribed format such as evidence of conformity to the specified requirements, list of manufacturing machinery, list of test facilities, inspection and testing plan. The Certificate of Conformity is granted initially for not less than 1 year and up to 2 years. Renewal of Certificate of Conformity is done for not less than 1 year and up to 5 years on the basis of a renewal application. The holder of a valid Certificate of Conformity can mark the certified products only with the number of Certificate of Conformity. Detailed guidelines for Certificate of Conformity are available on BIS website www.bis.gov.in. We saw the wide range of reforms concerning conformity assessment system in BIS. But is it enough to introduce new ideas and innovations? No. we need a vibrant system of monitoring to ensure that they work. What has BIS done in this regard? A lot. It has put in an elaborate monitoring mechanism using IT tools. Let's look at its important aspects.
We saw that eBIS is an integrated platform having dedicated portals for all the areas of the functioning of BIS. Each of these portals have a dashboard in public domain and a more comprehensive dashboard post-login for BIS officials. The Conformity Assessment Dashboard facilitates the real-time monitoring of the status each and every application for grant of license, renewal or inclusion with the help of the features of history and activity log and a well-designed set of filters.
An interesting tool for monitoring is Efficiency Index for the branch offices and certification officers.
Efficiency Index ranks the branch offices and certification officers on their performance against certain set of parameters. These parameters are related mainly to the disposal of applications and works as per the prescribed timelines.
The dashboard of the surveillance portal gives us a complete picture of the factory and market surveillances planned and undertaken, and it is possible to see the details of each and every surveillance. BIS has created a strong data analysis wing to generate need-based analytical reports. This is in addition to the standardized reports in the report section of the conformity assessment and surveillance portals. Equally important is the dashboard of LIMS. It enables real-time monitoring of the status of each of the test reports received by more than 300 labs in the country from the branch offices of BIS.
Testing of product samples is a critical component of conformity assessment. As you can see, the dashboard of LIMS has information on test request and sample received, progress of testing and generation of test reports. After logging in, BIS officers can see the complete details of test request using the history and activity log.
I'm truly overwhelmed. Transparency cannot have a better institutional face than this. We have heard the famous statement, sunlight is the best disinfectant. BIS has ensured sunlight reaches every part of its domain area, and the pursuit of excellence continues.
A new milestone we reach tells us the road that lies ahead, and BIS is committed to keep going and not let the spirit of change slacken. I request the manufacturers and friends in industry to join the conformity assessment system of BIS to create an all-pervasive quality ecosystem in the country.